My name is Jeremy Richman, and I am one of the co-founders and the CEO of the Avielle Foundation. My experience and background is in neuropsychopharmacology, where I have a PhD, and I've worked in a number of drug discovery efforts in the pharmaceutical industry for the last 15 years in both neuroscience and in cardiovascular and metabolic diseases. We explore endeavors and take interest in things that touch us personally. And I went into neuroscience originally because my grandfather had Alzheimer's disease, and that's brought me an interest in neuroscience in general. But in last December, on the 14th, my wife and I lost our only daughter, our 6-year-old Avielle, in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, where we lost Avielle and 19 of her classmates and 6 of her educators on that tragic day. And that brought us very close to the unfortunate epidemic of violence that we have in our world. And in a desperate need to answer why these things happen, we're faced with a trifecta of trying to explain violence that affects our culture and communities, being guns, safety, or mental health. We started the Avielle Foundation, whose mission is to prevent violence through brain research and education. We want to shift the dialogue and the ideas and the way that we think about mental illnesses from mental to brain. Everything mental is invisible and intangible, and it can't be measured. Mental illnesses are primarily diagnosed on symptoms, and we want to shift our focus to things that are tangible, real, visible. So we really want to shift from the invisible to the visible. We want to understand what the actual pathologies are that lead to violent and aggressive behaviors. And that way, once we know, we can apply effective therapies and interventions to prevent violence. When the chief editors of Violence and Gender approached us and said, you really need to come in and talk to us, we think that our missions and our values and our scope are so well aligned. I was so excited because the study of violence and the underpinnings that lead to violence in the brain is such an unmet need. And the fact that somebody wanted to be a voice for this and to help facilitate both the education of findings and understanding of the brain as it pertains to violence, that's critical. And also providing this voice also highlights the unmet need and invites people to look in this area. It sheds a light onto violence and violence research in general, so that it'll hopefully motivate more people to engage in the conversation and the dialogue and the research, so that we can help to put some of these pieces of the puzzle back in. So the Avielle Foundation is really committed to identifying the true pioneers in out-of-the-box thinkers in neuroscience, neurology, and psychiatry, to understanding what leads to impulsive and contemplative violent acts. And what we really want to do is bridge the biochemical and the behavioral aspects of violence. So in other words, we want to be able to put a name to portions of the brain, to the biochemical aspects that lead to behaviors, neural circuits being activated that manifest in violent and aggressive or impulse control problems. The journal Violence and Gender is going to provide a voice and invite people and create interest in studying the underpinnings of violence. And through doing that, we hope to identify the mechanisms in the brain that lead to violent behaviors, and identify effective therapies to prevent them. And that's the mission of the Avielle Foundation, so it's a perfect match.